There's something to be said about hard-nosed full contact. It's like that raw rap all the way back to boom bap. Spikes up, Ty Cobb inspired killing the corners. Heating up with recklessness, we still getting warmer. Nevertheless, nothing contest, we bring it best. Wile E. Coyote mixed with Roadrunner, full comers. Holding your title hostage, the kings we smoke others. You're either with us or against us, it doesn't matter which. Scouting your weakness, we bring the wrath when we hit. There's never been a squad as raw as trash goes can spit. You might get bashed with a stick while I'm pounding the fence. Look around, you're a fish while I'm rounding it quick. Take a look at the base and sprint off with a fist in your face. No remorse, no mercy, no force can hurt me. The scouts purposely bring the pain, come try to work me. But there's a crew of dirty cats.
Yo, softball fam. Good evening. Welcome again to the Glue Guys program. It's another wonderful evening here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, where it's not quite unbearable heat just yet, but it will be before we know it. Welcome again. I am one of your hosts, Mark DeChico, but the more important brain to the operation is to my
left, right.
Yes!
You never get this right. Yeah, see, look at that.
To my
Victory. Victory.
Mr. Marlos Hill, how are you this fine evening?
Oh, fantastic. Excited for this cool little show we got going on. Real quick, I do want to say, if you're watching us on Facebook, if you want to comment and you want your actual name to show up with your comments, please join us on the YouTube page. If you don't know what that is, it is glueguysprogram.com. glueguysprogram.com. We also ask that you share the stream, talk about us and things with other people. Otherwise, I'm fantastic, my man. I'm happy. I'm excited for this show today. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be all the things. And as a result, today's show is brought to you by the letter V. V for victory.
Yes. Also for Vic. That's that.
Yes.
So
see, look
well.
at me. Like, see, I'm good.
Work out of you,
man. Man. You see, I got the trademark Glue Guys color aura going on here right now. That is not a LUT. It is in fact just lighting. There's nothing else to it. We're not quite at the production value to be able to have specific LUTs and lighting culture and everything. So I just turn the light on.
And I just spent all of our budget on something, and we'll talk about that when it's over the price. I'm trying to go
crazy.
Big.
I like it. I'd rather spend it on that than lights. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you see the Son of God down in Texas there. They're throwing things away for prizes. You get like 47,000 of whatever they're giving away. So I got to match that, man. Right. I got to match that.
I get it.
So anyway, welcome. Let's pay the bills first and foremost. Not real happy with me after the weekend, but apparently we are still friends because I played League with him last night. I'll get into that too in a second. Mr. Mickey Czar and the folks over at Czar Realty. Folks, listen, I've been telling you. If you haven't gone yet, listen, it's come on. What more? I'm not going to insult someone's intelligence, but I've given you the keys to the castle and who to go talk to. I've given you the playbook to get you the most value for your home if you're selling it, or the best price if you're buying it. At this point, we're just going to have to knock you out with the rag, put you in the trunk, duct tape you, take you over there, duct tape you to the chair so you hear the things that you're missing out on. Wow. All right? FOMO over here. Let's go. Go see our friends over at Czar Realty. Take care of all of your real estate needs. Also, quick note, very soon, if you look on the schedule, the Czar Realty Invitational coming up. Special things planned for that. Tonight's also brought to you by, where'd he go? Eddie Van Halen, my newest Funko, and I was waiting on that one. And every time I do a show and I go to a tournament, I hear from more people that are into the Funko, and it's almost like a little secret, need a code word thing like, yo, you like Funkos too? Yes, I love Funko. So that's a couple new ones, but that's the one I was excited about. And it's great because I got a couple coming now. I found a Bryce Harper in a Phillies uniform I was having trouble finding. Someone found that for me. And I also have the brand new Mandalorian with the dark saber. And this is going over so many people's heads right now. And just so you know, that makes me feel all warm inside. Moving on, let's talk about Teddits real quick. Games and stuff. I mean, everybody plays something. It might, it might be Snake on your Flip Nokia, but you're still playing something. Teddits over on Facebook doing big things. Currently running Warzone Caldera, new map with a lot of foliage. So go check him out over there for us. Would you please throw him a like, go watch for a minute or two. It'll do a huge help to his stream and his future plans. But I will say, sadly, probably not going to bring him out of retirement to play again, since it is a softball show. First and foremost, let's do the screw ups from this weekend. One major one I got to own. There was a call made. A player slid it first. I was under the impression that was an out. The ump was under the impression that was an out. I got some bad info on some rule changes. My bad. I'm not blaming anyone else. Just what I based my decision on. They appealed to the director, and I withstood the ump's decision. We both were wrong. That won't happen again. But just owning it for Blue Point. I own that one. Yell and scream. I understand. But the only thing I'll say is, if you haven't umped, please do so. If you really, really want to come after me after that, because you got to ump to understand. It's a tough job, man. These guys get beat up with bullets from all sides. But as I said, that's one we got to own, and we'll fix moving forward. Also, having the umps a little better educated, that also falls solely on my shoulders, and that's something that I will absolutely work on. A couple issues, but nothing crazy, nothing that hasn't happened before, and we'll get it fixed up. And that won't happen again. Interesting that we're talking to Vic later. We will be talking about some of the things at the Challenge Cup and the challenges that he faced that I don't think a lot of people are aware of. So I hope no one's expecting this to be, Jerry Springer, or to go back for you older folks, Morton Downey Jr. I do have cigarettes, but I won't be smoking them on camera. And that's a really old ass callback. Vic and I both work for U-Trip, so if you were expecting that, you're probably the same folks that were trying to cancel Joe Rogan. So
hey, at the same time, before we hold on, because I am not that in the circumstance that Mark and Vic are. I will give you kind of a peek behind the curtain. One of the conversations that Mark and I had before this particular show. He assured me, but more importantly, I made it clear that we don't want to pat anybody on the ass. We don't want to give anybody an out for bad performances. But at the same time, what I stress to him is my biggest issue is I want to make sure that whatever we're talking about is about solutions and about making the game better, making the Challenge Cup better, or, whatever event it happens to be. In those circumstances, it has to be from that standpoint. We won't get into all the who did it and who didn't and what and conspiracy theories and whatnot, but we will make sure that we're getting the types of questions out and the type of answers that are going to contribute to a better experience. That's the most important part. We don't want to come across like we're just pandering to U-Trip or something like that, because again, I'm not employed by U-Trip. I can say whatever the fuck I want. But again, for me, it's more about making sure that we're doing things that are going to make things better going forward. I will also say ahead of time, I will be sharing some of the questions that are on the stream if they're appropriate. And when I say that, I don't mean you have to cover up what you're thinking, but I want people to be at least somewhat respectful of the circumstances. But I also want to make sure that what we're asking is going to contribute to being in a better place next time. And I firmly believe that a lot of the people who have had complaints, people have said things to me. I'm sure Mark's heard things, and things that people have said amongst themselves. I absolutely believe that a lot of those have validity, and they deserve to be addressed. But again, they deserve to be addressed in a manner that's going to contribute to a better performance next time.
Yeah, I just want to give everybody the full story. I want everybody to have all the available information before they maybe make up their mind.
Exactly.
I also want everybody to try to put yourselves into Vic's shoes or my shoes just before you bring up your concerns. I'm not telling you not to say them. All I'm asking is that you take everything in consideration before you voice it. Anything reasonable and not a hit piece, we'll post it up and we'll talk to Vic about. I will say
not to mention,
though, I don't want to get too specific because we'll be here for 3 hours on each individual thing. Maybe
exactly.
we'll hit a couple. And then, like you said, we agree on the fact of, looking back only serves to educate. There's no point getting stuck there. You take that information with the hopes of using it to come up with those solutions that you spoke of, to stay moving forward and to try to stay positive even after you have setbacks. I mean, that's life. So, but just keep all this in mind before Vic comes on. I'm trying to land somewhere in the middle. Get you guys the information that you're requesting, but also not bury somebody who was nice enough as someone in a pretty high position in UTRIP to come on and talk about this stuff and be accountable. And that's what I've been pushing. And everybody at UTRIP's on board to be accountable because nobody's perfect. It's going to happen. Things are going to happen. With an event down in Florida, obviously we don't have a direct line as like we would with a local one. So it's nice to get some of that information from someone who was there and involved. But remember that Vic is not UTRIP by himself. Don't come in asking about re-ranks or, we're going to focus on the Challenge Cup.
But you know what? Honestly, they can ask whatever the fuck they want. Like, I'm going to just straight up say, if it's some stupid shit, I'm going to ignore it. If it's, if it's something like legit, yeah. No, I'm saying, I don't want to fake it. I don't want to pump fake. I don't want anybody believing otherwise. I don't want to anybody being in their feelings. At the end of the day, if it's some stupid shit, I'm not asking that man that. I'm not wasting his time or mine. If it's a good question, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? If you, and again, if it isn't all about making sure that, we're not blaming everyone or trying to point fingers or trying to burn anybody at the stake. We're just trying to make sure shit works and make sure the shit works right.
Yeah.
And if you have questions about that, we're absolutely going to make sure that we do our best to get those answers. And we very well may not get those answers today, but we're going to do our best. And that's the key, is I want to make sure that everybody understands there's a level of neutrality here still, but at the same time, we're going to act like adults and we're going to make sure that we're doing things that are for the greater good and that are going to move towards solutions. Nonetheless, us soapboxing, we do only have a limited period of time before he joins us. Let's quit. Yes. I'm answering a question real quick. Chris, yes. Everyone listening, questions, put them in the chat. Like I said, as long as they're not stupid, I'll share them. Whether they get answered or not, it's obviously not entirely up to me. But as long as it's the type of question that's going to be, it's going to add to the conversation, add to what we're trying to do, and add to, of course, helping UTRIP as a whole. By all means, we're going to put them up, even if they're funny. Like, if they're funny for me, I'm putting them up. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But if it's some stupid shit, blaming people or some dumbass conspiracy shit, you can bet your ass I'm not putting it up there. And I might make fun of whoever makes that question, but I'm just saying it's not for it. Go ahead. You were going to add something before we pop over to
I was just going to say, as punishment for my screw up this weekend to the guys at Blue Point, we're just going to take this down because I'm not director of the year material this week. So that's my punishment. No plaque for me this week. So, hey, let's talk about our tournament. Geez. Glue Guys Invitational coming up March 19th, 20th. I'll say it again. Some people still missed it. If you played the Southwest invite, gentlemen, you get a $100 discount toward your entry fee for our tournament, the 19th and 20th out at Papago. So if you didn't hear that before, I'm telling you again, it is posted also in our group. Any questions, you can message me, but we can use that 100 toward your deposit, get you locked in right now. With the information I'm about to tell you, I think that you're going to want to play. But something I want to touch on real quick, we're doing different all-tourney awards for this tournament. We're also doing special T-shirts for prizes this tournament. And I'm going to have some limited edition. I just like saying that, even though it's not a big deal. Limited edition.
Limited.
Sunday. We're going to get some GSL Glue Guys hats made. The colors match, so we figure what the hell. I'm going to have a limited amount of those out there for sale at the tournament. And then for the prizes, I posted today. I just got word today. That's why I didn't do this sooner. Hopefully I'll change the flyer real quick too. We were able to secure a great number of bats for this tournament. So what we're going to do is it's March 19th, 20th for the good guys. Good guys. We're good too, but we actually are the Glue Guys Invitational. What we're giving away, guys, however many teams are in that division, that's how many bats we're giving away to the winning team, up to 12. So if we get 12 teams in a division, we're going to give away 12 bats to the winner. Major, 6, 7, 8 bats to the winner. Senior bats. Okay. new in wrapper, because I know that joke's coming. Did I get them at a flea market? No, I did not. I'll have you know they are new in wrapper. All right, so that's the big announcement. How many teams? That's how many bats, up to 12. I think that's a hell of a deal. Hell of a deal. Might be our biggest prize pack of the year for all I know, but we're only in March, so you know I'm going to try to top it. But for our tournament, we're trying to go big. So we're going to have specialized awards. We're going to have different T-shirts. I don't want to call them limited edition. They're just going to be different, all right? They're going to be tournament specific. And then Battle-Rama, bats, and more bats. I'm currently in the lab with our friends over at Marty's working on these awards and what we're doing and the different stuff, and I'm pretty excited. But that's a pretty big deal, the number of bats we're giving away. It's not some special cup tournament or a Worlds or, you know.
Wait a minute. Hold on. It's not special. The Glue Guys Invitational the Glue Guys Invitational by its very definition is the pinnacle of special and awesome and dope and all of those adjectives that describe something that you can't wait for. Let's not undersell it. I mean, I don't want to be too hyperbolic, but nonetheless, come on, you know, I mean, tell it right.
All right, it's special. It's pretty damn
exceptional
as I'm working.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's not classified as a Worlds. That's the best I'll go. But
there
hey,
you go.
I keep giving away this many bats. It's going to be real soon. Because I see only one other sanction that I know of. Oh, they're U-Trip too. Down in Texas, SOG Tour is doing a wonderful job. Him and Aaron with the SOG down in Texas, and I'm just really following their lead. You know, it is what it is. But hey, maybe the second annual Glue Guys Invitational will have 20 bats. I don't know. Maybe we can finagle like a Mercedes AMG.
Okay, now we're getting carried away.
Who knows?
Nah, you know what? Nah, look,
too much.
Nope. Because if we got the money to provide one of those as the prize, fuck that. We're getting the prize for being involved.
I'm just saying. I watch some other shows, and I feel like we're right on the cusp of a $100 million deal at Rumble or something. I just feel like we're right there, man. Just saying it's possible, man. I mean, if we got to go Pinto for the second annual, maybe wait to the fifth. That's all right. A car's a car. If it runs, it runs. Anyway, that's a big news for Southwest Invite. Or I'm sorry, Glue Guys Invitational. We're about to talk about the Southwest Invite. Wow,
I had to put that up there. I had to stop mid joke.
It got me too.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I would be down for that, bro.
No, I need an old school green machine.
Man, we have a Power Wheel out there. Man, I might hop my fat ass in there, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, speaking of fat asses, a couple guys had the electric bikes with them this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I stole Mickey's, as you saw. I posted a video from the tournament. Mickey had his out there. It's just, that's a new fascination now.
Well, at the same time, you absolutely need it for legacy. I mean, shit, you got a fucking mile to trek from the parking lot to the place. Granted, I haven't been up there yet, so I'm better.
Yeah, I'd definitely bring something. Even just something with wheels. It's trust me, a unicycle will be better than your feet.
Man.
Anyway,
I got a bike. I got a bike. I throw on the top of the car. You know,
I'm telling you, it's the way to go. But obviously press for time tonight. I only had three coaches come in with shout outs. So anybody that isn't mentioned, don't come at me, bro. Come at me. Talk to your coach.
That's it. Let's run through the rewind for the winners and runners up for Southwest Invite. We want to make sure we give them the credit that they deserve, in addition to the stats and such that you've sent. I do want to say again, let's please, we ask all the coaches, players, whoever, people that are just watching, send us information from the tournaments. We'd love to get people's feedback. We'd love to hear not about the tournament only, but really about the players, about the teams, about the things that you've enjoyed. Any of those things, we'd love to make sure that we're giving that credit to the players, coaches, and, in some cases, the families, because again, a lot of these wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and husbands, no matter, however the case may be, a lot of them are spending a ton of time out these fields. And so we do want to make sure that we're giving the credit where we can, but it's up to you guys to provide us some of that information, because otherwise we'd be making up our own stuff and shoving it down your throat, and that's not cool. So we're going to go to the rewind.
Powered by Photos by Westcott.
Westcott. Yes, sir.
Westcott.
And again, because I wish I had a program that real quick. Dropped it on my dropped it on my stream deck. So yeah, we absolutely want to give a shout out to Photos by Westcott for providing us these dope photos to go along with the winners. As we go along, we're going to be incorporating more of their photos. We also want to make sure that you guys tip your photographers. If you see them out there, throw them $5, throw them a beer, throw them something, throw them a water bottle, something. They're doing a fantastic job. And like I know, the week after a tournament, the Photos by Westcott shots are all over the profiles and cover photos. So give them the credit they deserve. Nonetheless, without further ado, we're going to start with the 50s. Give them your business there, Mark.
50s here, Amigos. That's 2 in a row now, folks. Back-to-back 50s titles for the Amigos. They went on a hell of a run. Had a tough game. I think they started a little cold, but obviously they stayed undefeated for the entire weekend. Congrats to the boys at Amigos, Jesse and the crew there, ships over there. I know there's guys I'm missing, and I apologize for that, but I'll work on that. That looks like our 40s Majors champions.
40s Major. Yep.
Again, back to back. Roster check. We're taking to the if game. Great both games were phenomenal. I got to see them both. That's also, folks, how you were gifted with that wonderful Justin Watkins bomb that I put online. That was from the if game of this 2-game ship series, we'll call it. So congrats again, roster check. Great work from you gentlemen. Here we see our runners up. Speaking of if games, Blue Point made a nice run in the first game to push it to the if game, and it went down right to the wire. Roster check had to walk them off in the open. So that was a really tight game. Those guys came up through the losers bracket, overcoming a bad call by an umpire and a director to take second at this weekend Southwest Invitational.
Hey, but before we move forward to 40s AAA, I do need to say that whoever I need to talk to get one of those Blue Point jerseys, I'm not trying to pretend like put my weird way of playing. No, because I suck. I'm not there. However, every single time I see a jersey, I get excited. Of course, I'm a member of the BP Mercenaries, as a music group that provides actually the themes for both the intro and outro of this show and a host of other things, and that matches our initials, perfectly. So whoever I got to talk to drop the money, I will pay for it. I'm not asking for a gift. I'll pay for it. Please let me know if I can get one of those.
Yes, Mickey.
It's such a fucking dope thing, dude. I love to give credit where jerseys are credited, and there's a lot of dope jerseys, but that BP, of course, personal to my heart. Anyway, moving back on to
40s, if it's Calvert or Mickey or whoever hooks that up, make sure that the sleeve is taken care of. We don't need what's on that sleeve on that.
I know where you were gonna go with that.
Yeah, that's all I need to say, because the guys who've seen the jersey know.
It's all
moving
good.
on, 40s AAA champs. Built to last. They've been on a hell of a roll. Didn't play last month because a lot of their guys were on the Challenge Cup team. So congrats to Sobel and the crew there. Chris was actually getting some major surgery done. And Rob Dunn ran the team this weekend for him. And actually, the team turned around and awarded Rob all-tourney MVP. So congrats, Rob Dunn, also to the guys at Built to Last on the title. We should have some news on them soon. Read into that what you will.
Dun, dun, dun.
Moving on. Here's our runner-up in AAA. Team Money, hell of a showing. They took it to the if game, and then just right at the end kind of ran out of gas. But hell of a showing. Anytime you run up the losers bracket, all the games you have to play to get back, it's a hell of a thing that needs to be talked about. So congrats to Craig and the boys over at Team Money. Sadly, I do not have the AZ Heat 50s runner-up picture, but guys, congrats nonetheless. You and Amigos have a rivalry starting that is absolutely has me excited for the rest of the years. You guys are going to battle back and forth. Heat was kind of on a hell of a heater for a couple years in 50s, and now we're seeing the competition finally start to catch up. Let's see how they I can't say old vets because everybody 50s old vets, but let's see how those guys react, retool, and then come back stronger, I'm sure. So it will be a back and forth battle all year between those guys in 50s. Let's get the shout outs I did receive. First and foremost, the A1 guys 40s AAA. I want to acknowledge Lance Goff for leading the team with an 800 average. Aaron Sisko also had a good weekend at the plate. John Gallardo got the walk-off winning hit against Jokers. Wild. Nice work there, Johnny. Real quick, from SOBs, Matt wanted to shout out David Wallace, Chris Willis, and Hector Soto. All were over 700 for the weekend. Congratulations. And actually, I just screwed that one up. That is actually for Icon, not SOBs. I didn't. Yeah, this explains the whole umpire debacle over the weekend. For the SOBs, actually, Matt wanted to shout out Adam Schrader, hit 818. Nice job, Adam. Craig Stoley, 778. Nothing wrong with that. And Marquise Harden also at a 750. That's a hell of a weekend for you boys. I'll take that all day and twice on Sunday, especially after the way I hit before my re-retirement at League Tuesday night. So that's it for the shout-outs. Like I said, usually you guys are pretty good with that. But Marlos likes number 79.
Yes.
And
yes,
what
I
size
absolutely
would
do.
you like?
I must be missing the chat because I'm over here trying to be producer extraordinaire.
I got you.
Yes. Yeah. I want a 3X or a 4X. I'm fat, bro. You know what I'm saying? Look, I don't play. I keep it real. No. Yeah. 79 is the number. 79 is the number. Size is 3X would be great. And again, I got no problem throwing you guys some bread. It's just a really dope jersey. I'm gonna talk to my partner Paco Knott. Shout out to him. Talk to him, see if he, if he likes it. Nonetheless,
you might need two.
Hey, you got to be here for that. So
you got to hook that showing up.
Right. Yeah, there we go. So again, that was our Glue Guys Rewind powered by Photos by Westcott for the Southwest Invite. Again, we appreciate everyone who comes up to these tournaments and does what they do, all the players, coaches, families, and the like. If you're out there and you're enjoying softball, we enjoy you. So it sounds like it's that time. I mean,
I almost forgot. We didn't. Obviously, I was running around at the tournament, knocking in spikes on pitching mats with a sledgehammer and painting lines. And I didn't get to see a lot of the co-ed mixed and the co-ed tournament on Sunday. But what I did hear through the grapevine, and I wanted to shout out on the show, Gabby Gonzalez joined the 1,000 Club this weekend. Great job by Gabby. 1,000, no outs. I have been a previous member of this 1,000 Club, so welcome in. We don't have rings yet. We're working on it, or jackets, but hey, you're part of it now. There's a list somewhere. Congratulations. Just being a member myself, I felt I should extend that.
You're not gonna let that go, are you? You're not gonna.
No. I don't have a lot of things to hang my hat on. I got to keep what I got.
All right. I'm not gonna hate.
Hold it tight. You got to hold it tight. So congrats, Gabby. My buddy, Ryan Adams, and his wife Gladys also, I believe they were part of the winning co-ed mixed team this weekend. So great job out there. We are working on that coverage. Also, speaking of, just remind everybody, Sammy's nice enough to join the program last week. Make sure you go and vote for her on the Inked magazine cover contest.
Yeah,
she did win her group.
Totem votes.
Yeah, we're into another group now. She got out of the first one. Now we're into another group. She needs every vote. It's free, folks. You get one a day, and it's free. Free. Dave Calvert, thank you. We appreciate that, my friend. But if it was for me, that wouldn't have got ordered yet. So you got good vibes over there. So, make sure we go vote for Sammy. She's nice enough to come on the program. The least we could do is keep promoting that. Let's get her on the cover, man. Let's get her on the cover. Let's get that taken care of. I thought Jay did a great job getting up the photos of all the winners this weekend. You can see that right in the Arizona GSL USSSA group, all labeled up, and they looked phenomenal. And that was pretty cool to see. The conference was crazy. I saw some home runs this weekend that were just crazy. And then, like I said, the one I posted to Justin Watkins, he actually hit the one before that even farther out. I think it was a one bouncer to Ellsworth.
That dude's a monster. That dude's a monster.
To me.
Dead ass. Yeah. I don't want to hear nothing from nobody. That dude's a monster. Monster.
So,
straight up.
Good news for the 50s. You don't have to worry about the 330 fences with the turf for a while. So Papago next month, Pioneer the month after that, Pioneer in April. We actually have some out-of-state teams coming. We have a really good team from Texas coming to play majors in April. So I'm really excited about that. And we're working real hard to get some of these out-of-state teams in to give you guys a little different competition. We're currently working with a couple teams, and I should have some bumps very soon, some AAA teams going up to majors. We're pretty sure we're going to allow those AAA teams to play with the spot in majors division for one tournament to feel it out. And everybody I talked to in major teams welcomed it. They were fine with the spot to figure out, make sure we get these teams in the right places. So that I'm pretty excited about that. And I know the major guys have been looking for some more competition. So I'm hoping that we can get that rolling quickly. And then, of course, I'm just going to keep throwing bats at them. And we'll get that. I see we have changed our tag, so I would assume that means our guest is available. Bring him on whenever you are ready, my friend.
You got to give him an introduction. You got to
give
him
a
hold on.
No,
you got to give hold on, bro.
Hair.
Nah, man, you got to give him a proper introduction.
Yeah,
you got to give this man a proper introduction. Come on now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, please join me in welcoming UTREP GSL West Coast Director and somebody crazy enough to approve me getting hired here at UTREP, Mr. Vic Rivera, joining us for the program. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
How you doing, fellas? Excited to be on your show tonight.
Fantastic. We're glad to have you. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun, as it always is. So, looking forward to it.
Let's jump right in. We'll try to knock these out as quick as possible so we can move on to the cool stuff like future and, the stuff we are looking to do this year. Real quick, Jason, you're right. Carrie does all the hard work. Thank you. Westcott. Photos. Thank you. I had to say that or I was going to get killed by his wife, and I'm not.
That's all right. Hey, you got to get it in there. Don't worry.
Vic, we jump quick, Vic. Hang in there. I'm getting my mind together, I swear. First and foremost, just a couple of the issues down at Challenge Cup. Obviously, I tried to preface it by saying that there's always two sides to every story, and I've asked anyone watching just to take in all the information before making a judgment call on anything. Obviously guys get more aggravated if it happened to them. They were on the bad side of a call or a decision. And I just want everybody kind of get in the right headspace as we kind of walk through a couple of these issues that happened and what we're doing to fix them. The big thing we're pushing obviously is solutions. We can, if we had 4 hours, sure, I'm sure we could go through every last little nitpick, but we don't have it. And that's not a very entertaining show. So the one I wanted to kind of have you elaborate on was the issue with the women's bracket and what kind of was going on behind the scenes with you guys and what you were trying to, you were trying to fix the impossible. I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of elaborate that and tell the people what they may not know, which is probably most of it. You know what I mean?
Sure. This past year, our women's senior program, we did not have a lot of data points. We didn't have a lot of women's teams participate. Obviously, the initial goal of the Challenge Cup is to send teams that participate in the program to the Challenge Cup. But being that we have to include the ladies in this experience, we made an exception to allow teams that did not participate during the season to participate in the Challenge Cup.
Gotcha.
And going into the Challenge Cup, we reviewed rosters the same as we do for men's. But after pool play, what we learned was the world was flipped upside down as far as the pool play was concerned. And before we went into playoffs, I just wanted to ping, the smartest people in the room. And I spoke to CUSSSA, which are the conference people that are very knowledgeable about the women's, the upper level women's. And I had them review every single roster. And
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, we try to get things right, but we don't get it right all the time. But when we do get it wrong, we fix it. And so the intent was to level the playing field going into the playoffs because it was completely upside down. And I had these, probably the policymakers for women's slow pitch in the country look at these rosters, and we made the necessary adjustments. And rather than bumping teams up, we decided to drop some teams, which was the appropriate action as far as we were all concerned. I know the situation was bad in the sense where this is probably a marquee event that you don't want to make those kinds of changes. But the one thing is that this is year one of the Challenge Cup, and we did the best possible job we could. And in my personal opinion, I just feel that the adjustments that were made were appropriate and it reflected on the results.
Gotcha. Now, I mean, I guess this may go without being said, but would you think with another year of data and another year of feedback from players and coaches and managers that next year we should see an uptick in the participation of the women's?
Absolutely. One of the things that we are trying to set up is an advisory committee, and this advisory committee is going to be full of managers that want to help the program grow, not just in our region, but across the country, and manufacturers that are interested in our growth as well. And everyone just advise, let's spitball, let's brainstorm, come up with ideas to improve the program. The most important thing that's going to help us establish these data points is participation. So we really need the women's program to participate in order for us to get these guidelines on point.
Yeah, one thing I want to just kind of squeeze in here. I've talked to some of the women often, and the thing I often hear is, oh, well, so-and-so from this state, we knew she was this ranking. And, here's the thing, ladies, that I just want to try to stress. That's why we need all of you to participate and send in your ideas, because when teams go from one state to another, sometimes we don't know. Don't assume that we know everyone. Don't assume that we know all the ranks. That's a bad assumption. What I need you to do is participate in the information part of this. Give us a heads up. Send me a message. Send Vic a message, whoever to get a hold of, or your state director, if it's not one of ours. And put that information in. We take that very seriously, and it helps us become more educated. I've said on the show numerous times, I have to get more educated about the women's and the co-ed mix, so everybody gets the proper shout outs and adulation for playing. So please be involved in the process. So, I mean, I feel like you did the best you could. It's always a no-win situation, but the least we can do is acknowledge the mistake that was made and work on correcting it. Now, we also had kind of an issue with the rankings in the men's from state to state, region from region. I was curious if maybe you could explain kind of the process. And I know that, you handled more California West Coast, but I feel maybe you can explain the process of how that stuff kind of came to be and get a better understanding among folks who may not know.
Okay, I think the biggest confusion that's floating around in the senior program is the term conference. Okay, conference for seniors is a division, versus in slow pitch, it's an entire program that encompasses like 6 different divisions. So when we refer to conference in our guidelines, we're referring to senior conference, which is the division, not the program on the slow pitch side. So one of the biggest complaints that we get is people spotting conference players on the field. And my first question is, what do you mean by conference? Are you referring to the slow pitch side, or are you referring to the senior conference division? So that's one of the issues that we're facing. The other issue is obviously, even though I started on this venture pre-COVID, it was the end of 2019, right before 2020. And in COVID, we were shut down. So I don't even count 2020 as a year that we operated. This last year was our first year operating. And in reality, I've been spending this entire year trying to identify the state directors and the senior directors across the country that are actually running a legitimate senior program. So now that we have those pieces, pushing the guidelines as far as like us enforcing them exactly the same is our next step. And unfortunately, interpretations of the guidelines are different in every region. And we did our best as far as the Challenge Cup goes. The Challenge Cup is it's an animal. you're not sending established teams, you're sending all-star players. So you have to review every single player on that roster versus what a team did throughout the season. So that became a big challenge. And so in order to fix some of these issues, part of that advisory committee is going to be composed of senior directors that are directly involved in classifying teams in their areas. And so that way, in these meetings, if there is any classification issues or questions, we could bring it up to this advisory committee, and the advisory committee can have their input on where these guys need to be. But
Now-
we need to start somewhere, and I think we're heading in the right direction.
So let me jump
ahead.
in real quick. Two questions actually. First, I'm going to actually start with a question I have myself to piggyback off of the statement that we just came from, or just prior to this last piece. And then secondly, I'm actually going to ask a question that's asked in the chat from Chris Sobel. So first question.
I'm going to cover that one.
Okay, first question. You mentioned the difference in terminology. So the conference term. Now I understand that, and obviously the way you described it is pretty plain as day. However, it seems fairly obvious, and somebody had to think about this in some type of focus group and or committee, that it didn't make a whole lot of sense to use the same term. And that term, like you just described, the expectation from some people when they hear the word a conference player or a conference, they think of it in the term of this, the standard men's program rather than what's being applied as senior. One, has anybody considered maybe changing that terminology for the purpose of senior? Or two, has anybody considered doing a better job of maybe explaining what that difference actually is? Because I noticed that a lot of the questions that were asked of me, a lot of the complaints that I've seen, across Facebook and this and that, have all been centered around that terminology, and that just seems so obvious of an easy fix. Have you guys thought about that? Have you considered it, making an adjustment of that term, or what do you think would make that a little easier on you as a director, on directors all around?
Right. Okay. So let me share how it came about in the first place.
Awesome. Thank you.
When we put this committee together, we were just trying to establish USSSA as a separate senior organization. So we didn't want to be blah, blah, blah 2.0, the competitor 2.0. We wanted to be USSSA. And so what we tried to do was we tried to insert rules that were comparable in order to make the transition from one organization to the other sort of transparent, but at the same time, kind of keep the USSSA vibe alive. Mm-hmm. So being that conference term is a very strong USSSA term, right, and it only belongs to USSSA, we decided to, substitute Major Plus with conference, because conference on the slow pitch side refers to the best of the best players in slow pitch. Absolutely. And so that's the reason why we replaced the Major Plus term with conference, because we were just trying to make the division known as the best division in senior softball. So
that makes perfect sense. No, that makes perfect sense. And I think that description, the explanations that you're providing, I think that's a big point where a lot of these people are missing out, where they're pissed off, right? They're like, oh my God, it's a conference guy. Yeah. But in reality, as you describe it, it is, okay, it's a Major Plus guy. And it's just the term, it's the term that UTRIP uses. I didn't want to jump too fast, but I did want to make sure that we got into in Chris's question, which I think is an interesting question. And it is also not as specific as I would complain about, because I've already kind of stated my opinion about some of the questions. But this one, I think, is a good question. And
the only
relates.
Thing, I want to add a caveat there, though. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure Vic could answer it because he can't speak for other states beside California.
Of course.
I'll say the question. So
you got
Vic
it. Yeah,
knows.
run it.
Yeah.
So Chris basically asked how a major player from Arizona could play for another team's AAA. I mean, you might be able to answer it in generalization, but I know for a fact that, you only were really responsible for your state and checking your guys to get them there. So I don't know that necessarily Vic could talk about another state other than the one he's in. And, you were talking about another state having, I don't know if we can get specific, but can we speak on that in a generality, Vic? Is that possible?
Yeah, sure. And I'll be more than happy to do that. Here's the problem is that, obviously, we are trying to be transparent by allowing teams to look at rosters online. you're able to see your competitor's roster online. Unfortunately, the details as to why a state director or a senior director makes an exception for particular players, those aren't transparent. It's within the state, and so I would not be able to answer another state's question as far as like why they made a decision to allow something to happen.
Right.
The one thing that my experience from dealing with all the different state directors and senior directors is uh, most of the time when I call them and I ask them what's going on, they give me a very good reason why they made a decision they made.
So
I'll
okay.
give you one example.
good.
There was a Florida team that, on paper, if you looked on their roster, looked like they had 4 guys from out of state. Every one of those guys, I requested for their ID and I verified that they had a state license, so they were allowed to play for Florida. But the appearance, the optics look really bad.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
I just want people who are curious about this stuff to reach out to your state director and ask them to ask the other state director what's going on. It's better to ask than to make assumptions, and we're here to answer your questions.
Absolutely. And I will say ahead of time, that's kind of one of the things that Mark and I talked about before you joined the show. I don't know if you may have heard us, but we didn't want to get into too much, conspiracy theory type stuff. We wanted to make it sure it was something that you could answer, number one, but number two, that in answering it, it made for, something that we could use going forward and make things, work better. Now, what I'll jump to actually, which is a question that I've been wondering anyway. A lot of the rankings change, of course, once we go into the senior program. The senior program being absolutely and obviously separate from the men's program. But is there a reason why we're using a different ranking system essentially for senior, only to then, to your point, we reference back to, conference is a very U-Trip thing, but now all of a sudden we're using rankings that don't really match up with what U-Trip normally does. Can you kind of speak to that? And I know you may not have the entire answer, but yeah.
I'm actually excited to answer this question.
Awesome.
We're in the process of mapping PRVs to seniors.
Fantastic.
So in other words, if you are D and E, you are this. If you are C, C elite and C, you are this. If you are B, you're this. If you're A and above, you're this. So we are in the process of mapping PRVs. And to be honest with you, my IT guys have no interest in creating separate senior PRVs. So we're in the process of making those changes to be very similar to slow pitch. I mean, it makes sense because the system is already set up for it.
It's already there. Might as well use it.
And the only caveat and the only dilemma that we're going to face is you got senior guys that have been sitting out for 10 years, 7 years. The new PRV system doesn't record anything past 5 years. So, these guys are going to come up as a 0. They're going to come up as E players. Now, we're going to run into the problem that we have to identify these guys and classify them correctly in order for it to work. Mm-hmm. But in a lot of situations, like you guys mentioned, we don't know guys from other states that come to play in our state, and we may allow them to play, and they may wreck our tournament. But the one thing is that in the senior community, you guys know each other, and as long as you point it out to us, we can do a little homework and address it. So it has to be pointed out. Here in Southern California, we have this nasty habit of nobody wants to rat each other out. There's like a code for the guys, and we're trying to break that, because the only way we're going to make this program stronger and grow it faster is by cleaning things up. And that's the way we're going to do it, is by players identifying other players.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on, Vic and I have had a couple conversations. We're working on the PRVs, I promise you. The work I did previous to coming here is a factor. And we're going to get it done. I don't know when, I don't know how, and when we know, we'll let you know. But we're working on it, on obviously Arizona and the entire, country, and hopefully getting things together through national that it just hits everybody. One thing I wanted to ask you about, Vic, because actually I don't fully know, so this is actually going to educate me as a director and also answer some questions. Multiple questions from women's and 40s AAA coach, some players, and I don't know. I was watching the live streams and saw it. So do we have a set rule for the pitching net now in seniors? I saw it set up in different positions in different games. I was under the impression it had to be at a certain spot. I've heard that a pitcher pushed it down after pitching, and that seems odd to me. If it's going to be a dead ball, hitting it to be able to move it, or so there was a lot of confusion among the umpires and among. Geez, I'm a director and I don't know. So while I had you on the program and now the questions came in, that's great because I was going to ask you about it. Can you talk to me about this pitching net rule and how we're handling this?
Okay, so the pitching screen is very big in the East Coast. In most leagues in the East Coast, it's required. It's mandatory. I know Texas uses it a lot too. On the West, we rarely use it. So when we got together to try to incorporate the rule and try to make it fair for both coasts, we just decided to make it optional. So you could either wear gear or you could use a pitching net. Now, regarding the pitching net actually being moved, it's a 2022 rule change. So if there's a play in progress, the pitcher can push the net over to avoid interfering with the play, but the net on the ground is still live. So if the ball hits the net, you still got to play it. If it gets stuck under the net, then they call dead ball. But the purpose of moving the net was to eliminate the interference of an outfielder trying to throw a guy out at home. We had a lot of pushback at the convention, and that was one of the reasons why we changed it. Now, as far as adjusting the pitching net, a pitcher can adjust it based on whether they're right-handed or left-handed, and it just has to cover half the pitching plate, 3 feet in front of the pitching plate.
That's what I needed.
Yeah, 3 feet in front of the pitching plate, as long as it's covering half the pitching plate, and the pitcher has to toe the rubber. So once they chuck the ball, the pitcher basically is out of the defensive play. He has to get behind the net, and he can only get involved in the defensive play when another defender touches the ball. So if he wants to go and run, if he wants to run the second base and cover a double play, as long as another defender touches the ball first, he can get involved in the play.
Now,
so
can a pitcher? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
One of the changes that we're proposing, and it's part of the advisory committee that I'm talking about, that we're putting together, is what if a ball is popped up in front of the net, or what if it's an infield pop-up? Should the pitcher be able to get engaged in the play? And the most people's opinion is yes. I mean, if it's a pop-up, yeah, pitcher gets involved. But if it's anything on the ground or a line drive, another defender needs to touch the ball first. But what we're trying to avoid is creating a bunch of confusing rules, for something that's just strictly made for safety. It's meant for safety.
Okay, now can the pitcher move the net in between batters? Is that allowed?
The pitcher, once they place the net in a spot for an inning, that net has to remain in that spot. Now, if it's knocked over or moved, it has to go back to that original spot. Now, if you switch pitchers, then they can adjust the net.
Got it. So it's basically preference, but once you set it, it's set for the inning. You can't be moving it around and adjusting it. You kind of got to get ready.
And you can't remove it. You can't remove it, because I keep seeing some of the chat people, some of the people in chat that are kind of saying, well, when this particular play happened, then they moved it. And then they moved it out of the way because it became more advantageous, which, for what it's worth, when you said the pop-up thing, that's where it kind of made me go, that's tough, because now you're saying, on one hand, we're saying, okay, it's safety, et cetera, but then we're saying because of this type of play, you can then be involved in the defensive play, which I think is contributing to some of the confusion that people are seeing. And maybe even some of the umpires may have been confused as to how it can be used or not.
Well, that's being proposed, is what he was saying. So that's not technically a
proposed.
rule yet.
Okay. I misunderstood. My fault.
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm thinking if you choose to take the net, there should be some strategy in it. Like if you use the net, then no, you can't catch that pop up. So you now have to think about it from a strategy standpoint. Like you can use the net, but then your catcher's going to have to be all world or about 130 pounds because he's going to have to go test everything in front of the net. I like the idea of a trade-off because it's an advantage for the pitcher and the defensive team more than it's a disadvantage, I think. Well, I guess the same thing. The batter, it's going to screw with batters. They eventually got to get over it. I'm okay with that. But for the fact that you get this thing staring in front of you, which is brand new, and you don't take BP with a net, there should be some kind of trade-off. I like that as a trade-off. You're out of the play until it hits someone else. I would definitely like folks. We got to work through the process and come up with these ideas and keep working to get it right. At this point, it's integrated. Now we got to do the tweaks.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of people that are expecting it to be more uniform, meaning that kind of like Vic said. Well, to the point that Vic said, well, ball's coming. If it's popped up or it's not, to me, the pitcher can't be involved like that because if that's the case, then you start getting the pitchers placing the net in a way that they can make certain plays, and that's bullshit. Like that, because at that point it becomes another advantage essentially for the defense because pitcher says, okay, you know what? I'm going to be falling off to the right, so I'm going to put this net here. That way, if the hitter does what he's supposed to and goes opposite the pitcher, it goes into the net and it's a dead ball. That's crap. So the pitcher's got to be done. Like no matter what, you're out of it until another fielder makes the play and you have to, in case he has to cover first or something like that. Yeah. But I think moving it based on the ball is weird.
I actually witnessed it at the 2020 World Series. Actually, it was last year. No, 2020. So when we had the rule in place where a pitcher could get involved in the defensive play, what I saw a lot of was exactly what you described. I saw pitchers pitching from the side of the net and using the net as an extra defender versus, to plug up that hole, the 1-4 hole, the 1-6 hole, and they jump in the other hole, and that's just an extra defender on the field,
Exactly. So, it's like having a six-man.
Correct. And the reason why we took the pitcher out of the defensive play was it's your choice. Your net is the defender. So if you choose to use the net and the player hits that net, then it's counted as a foul ball. If you got none to waste and it's got to be, and you hit that net again, then you're out. One sec
before we move forward. Yes, everyone to people in the chat. We can absolutely see your questions. Understand at the same time we're giving Vic, the room to be as detailed as he can, and of course it's really difficult for us to get to everybody. So yes, we are seeing them. As many of them that are unique, we're trying to throw them in. If we don't get to them, believe me, it's not personal. We're just trying to make sure that it's fairly fluid. Sorry, go ahead, guys.
I think Vic actually answered one as he came in. He was actually giving the answer there to that person or making a live ball off the net instead of a foul ball. Well, no, that's why we're taking the pitcher out of the play. If it hits the net, he can't field it. It's got to go to another player before him, as the rule is stated right now. Which the more we're talking about this, the more I'm thinking about it. I think that's the best way. And Vic said it. Your net is essentially your pitcher. That's your defender in the defensive play. If you choose to use it, that's what you have to play with. You can't take advantage of it like you had said you saw at the World Series. Let's just move it just a little bit toward that 1-4 hole because I'm not as strong there. Maybe that's not my glove side. They move that net to their pitching side hand, and then they got their glove for the other side. They're essentially making themselves 8 feet wide, which I don't like. Look, and I know you guys. I'll take every advantage I can get. But that's too much. I
know you guys are gonna, and you already know Mark. Vic, you may not know this, but Mark will know. I'm always gonna be like, nah, get rid of the net, get rid of the mat, get rid of all that crap. Pull out the Su-40s. I think someone on the chat just said the same thing. Pull out the Su-40s if we're worried about safety. And again, I know I'm the dissenting opinion about that, and I have no problem with that. But to your point, it does get complicated, and it does get complicated for the viewers, for the players on the field as a defender, or even as a hitter. I know you guys brought that up a few seconds ago. As a hitter, now you've got to determine, okay, that means I have this window of space in which I literally can't hit the ball, because if I do, then I'm putting myself at a significant disadvantage, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that. But I guess that's the point where some of the other people are saying also that it's got to be a very static situation that every time the net is there, it means X rather than, well, you know what? I'm going to move it here, or well, I don't want to use it this time. Yeah. So, let's pick another question real quick. I know we've got a few more minutes before we're out of time on the wonderful Glue Guys program.
Which one did you see? I think we missed a really long, complicated one that it looked like about each state director and votes. I completely
awesome.
missed it.
It was awesome. I did not miss it. I wanted to come back to it. That's why I brought it up.
So I'm actually going to read that one. Thing.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to read that one out. I can't quote who it is because I can't get to Facebook at the same time. Facebook hates us, so we can't see your names. So forgive me. And we've all, I mean, I've been put in Facebook jail. Mark's been in Facebook jail, all for stupid stuff lately. So yeah. Anyway, the question is, or the question and statement.
Yeah.
Question and statement is, but how do you make it 90 to 95% consistent between SSUSA and UTRIP in terms of terminology, proper classifications, rankings, and etc., while starting from top down, meaning all state directors configure the roadmap of consistency together with all buying in with, say, a vote, and hold state directors responsible and accountable with a complete unified committee panel made up of various state directors. Now, granted, that doesn't come across like a question as much as it is both a question and a statement.
But it's a good point.
But it's a good point that has a couple of caveats of questionable or answerable position. What do you think there about that, Vic?
Okay, so we already have that in place. I mentioned the advisory committee, which is at the manufacturer manager level. We have a senior committee, and our senior committee is composed of 5 people across the country, and each of those people manage their senior directors in their areas. So we're represented by the West, East, Midwest, Texas, Northeast, and Sean Melvin, which is our leader for slow pitch. He's part of the committee as well. So we have people across the country giving input on the rules that we're pushing out, but we need to do more than that. We've done what we can based on our director experience, but there's a lot of managers that have given me good feedback and comments and advice out there that can help us just tweak these rules much better and tighter, where that makes more sense, like you guys mentioned. And not only that, but it simplifies it for the umpires, because we know that we want to reduce any kind of confusion when it comes down to the umpiring, and that's what we need to try to accomplish together. So
I like the idea. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that I've kind of taken away from the comments that I've seen, or the comments that even that I've heard from people, is consistency, establishing a level of consistency, regardless of the location of a particular tournament, regardless of the director individually, making some of those things as uniform as possible. I mean, and what I'll say again, because we don't have very many questions and we only have a few minutes left, I will say that's one of the things that to me is the biggest goal. And you very well addressed that, throughout the call. You're looking to create a level of consistency in senior, while at the same time, you still want to leverage some of the things that makes UTRIP unique, or makes UTRIP, so to speak. That's why, as much as I hate the idea of using reusing the word conference, I can understand why. The same thing with why you're also attributing the AAA and et cetera, and still using that. Now, I'm going to get to a real question.
Don't
question
you put
that really
that
matters.
up? You saw me shaking my head. Don't you put that question up?
Come on, bro. Come on.
Now, come on.
I don't even have to say it. I don't even have to say it. Come on.
Why are you selling me out like
Come on.
Come on.
Hey, look, there's no way I'm going to pass that up.
I know you're not. No why don't we go back to when that dude was playing AAA? He didn't exactly have the greatest batting average against me either. The question is, have you seen me pitch? I ain't worried about the bat, Mickey.
Okay. Wow.
That was great.
Well, nonetheless, we are pretty much at the top of the end of our great, wonderful, awesome, dope Glue Guys program. We are absolutely appreciative of having you, Vic. I know we took some time out of your day. we were, and you did everything we expected you to, which is to, really establish what UTRIP is trying to do to make the program better, to make the processes better, to make things a little more obviously uniform, which is one of the biggest complaints that you'll always hear. So we appreciate you being here, taking time out. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I know your pain, Vic. I know what you go through. I'm going through it on a much higher level because you have more people in your pool than I do. I will say that, whatever's wrong, we're going to fix it. We're going to own it. That's what I've been preaching since I got here, and it was really nice. Everybody that I've dealt with at USSSA is dedicated to the same thing. Yeah, we're not going to get them all right, but we're going to fix the ones that we don't. I really look forward to working with you and building this thing up, obviously in Arizona and on a national level. So again, nobody else is doing this. No other person involved in the sanction as high up as you has come on a show, talk about what's going on. I guess, face the music, for lack of a better term. And I really, really appreciate you coming here and doing that for us, sir.
Now, just some information for your viewers. If you have any questions regarding the senior program, please email me at vic.rivera@ussa.org, vic.rivera@ussa.org. I will be sending out the advisory committee information. Obviously, we're going to selectively pick these people that are part of the advisory committee, and it's all going to be based on state directors recommending people. So we're getting on it. It's going to take some time, but it's better to walk than run recklessly. So we're going to make sure it's done right.
Yeah, we see Vic's emails up there on the screen in case you didn't catch it. I know I don't hear so well, so you can read it right there. Go back at any time. Go onto our YouTube. The show will be there to watch later if you didn't happen to catch it live. Again, Vic, thanks so much. We got a lot of work to do this year. I look forward to making some noise with you out there in Cali when I get a chance. And get away from these Arizona guys. They're really sick of me already. I mean, you see, they're asking if you see me swing a bat, for God's sake. So I may need a vacation there. We'll get a couple of your tourneys going. Appreciate it. All right.
Indeed. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, sir, so much. Wonderful. I think, I think we got a lot of good information. I think he answered best he could with the questions that were posed. If you did ask a question, we get to it. We apologize. We were kind of limited in our time with Vic. We wanted to get in as much as we could. If I saw multiple people asking about the same subject, we tried to get that in there to cover as many of you as possible.
We try to condense it. At the same time, we are on a limited period of time, and at the same time, we're using that man's time. And so we try to keep it, as tight as we possibly can. And I think the other thing is we really wanted to make sure we were kind of steering it towards the things that people were, by and large, saying were issues. And kind of like Mark and I've said before, I know for me at least, I always look at it from a player standpoint. I'm not a director, I'm not a part of the organization. I'm looking at it strictly as a player, as someone who's been there and who's out there on the field. And the last thing you want to feel like is you're being shafted by, some cheating or some ranking moving around and all that. So that's why I wanted to make sure that we at least address that. I didn't want to let it turn into, you get what you want, you get what you get, but yeah.
I mean, I think it was good. We retain a nice level of accountability with that, in that, if anybody ever thinks I'm a corporate shill, you are the exact opposite of that. And the show will retain a level of neutrality in things, basically the whole truth, nothing but
absolutely
truth.
Absolutely. Plus, you guys know I'm a big fan of UTRIP. I mean, so it's not like, I'm a full on hater, at the same time, I like to make sure that we're being clear.
I will say I'm shocked we didn't get one. Hey, Vic, are we going to put juking in seniors question? Shocked.
I'm not shocked.
I think one was coming.
Know better. I think people know better. It's been shot down so often and so quickly. I think people are just tired of doing it. I think they say it a lot of times to like you because it's closer. I think once you step up a version of director, then they're like, nah, if I say this, he's gonna be like, what the, I just like, honestly though, that would be dope.
No, you don't even realize what you just did. Or did you realize? You did realize. Cut my knees out. Well, you got to get another level. Level.
Hey, look, I mean, that's not a slight against you. You're new at this UTRIP thing. You're not new at being a director. I mean, you do have, you are the NFG director of the year. So I'm saying you're not new at this.
Punishment's over.
Yeah, so I'm saying you're not new at this. It's your, but it is, however, your first foray into the monstrosity that is U-Trip. So that's why I said it that way, because again, we're like, everybody's a little closer to you, right? I mean, I would ask that of Bob, right? I would ask that of you, like, hey, can we get rid of the mats? I say that like every time we talk, right? Can we get rid of the
Right.
mats?
Very true.
Right? You notice I didn't say that. Because again, I understand that there's a hierarchy of things, and that things work a little different when you're in that type of position and you have all those people, that are that essentially answer to your, direction, so to speak. So no, I didn't mean it as a slight for you at all. I just meant, you're still familiar, as you go up in terms of, the West Coast director rather than
but I'll
one
never
state.
forget where I came from, Lowe's.
Hey, but I'm saying,
I'll never get.
But once
too
you're
big,
at that point, nobody's asking you for rule changes. They're just gonna bust your balls about everything else. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
my level, I don't think it matters. I think the balls, the breaking of the balls is going to. I could become
It's gonna happen.
National director, and that's never going to stop.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's true.
I had 0 Ks at league, swinging and throwing, and that's fine because I got outs.
That's all that matters. At the end of the day, it's an out in the book. It just looks good when it's a K. Give him the hand.
Right there.
All right. So
anyway, we got stuff to do, man.
Yeah,
listen,
Vic,
again, great guest, folks. Real quick review in case you didn't catch it at the beginning of the show. At the Glue Guys Invitational, the amount of teams up to 12, that's how many bats are given away for first place. So you get 12 teams, 12 bats, 6 teams, 6 bats for first place. It's kind of a big deal to me, I think. We're going to be doing limited edition GSL Glue Guys hats with our Glue Guys logo on there with the GSL logo. Also, the winning T-shirts that we're giving away in the prize packs are going to be Glue Guys inspired.
Yes, sir.
And then the all tourney MVPs, we're going to be doing something special with the Glue Guys logo. A lot of cool things coming, folks. Get signed up. If you played Southwest Invite, you get $100 back. Usually, if you're depositing, get signed up. I'm thinking we might sell this thing out once this word gets out about how many bats we're giving away. This is going to turn into a big deal very quickly. So please get it in there. Text me. Get on the website. Do what you got to do, but please get signed up. So, hey, thank you. Show 11 in the books. Apparently, we're doing okay. They let us keep coming on. We'll be back next week to do some cool stuff. I got a couple guests. I'm trying to work out which one, so look for the post. Again, thank you, Vic Rivera. Look forward to working with you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you, Photos for Westcott, for powering our rewind.
Yes.
And I think I covered everything, sir. Did I miss anything?
That's it. Nope. That's it.
All right. We'll see you next week, folks.
We're out. Peace.
Game on.
Yes, sir. I think we're good
I like
to go.
That, one. That
was a good
felt
show.
Quick.